Here's the claim. The modern short story hardened into shape in the glow of the Gothic. Periodicals lit the fuse, Poe shaped the blast, and M.R. James refined the shock to an art. If you want to understand where the short story really comes from, follow the ghost. Yes, humans have told brief tales forever. Fables, folk tales, Boccaccio, Chaucer. But in the early 1800s, magazines and literary annuals demanded tight, one-sitting reading. Writers answered with compact narratives that hit fast and hard. The Gothic seized that form like a violin takes a bow. Enter Edgar Allan Poe, not the first to write short fiction, but the first to tell us what it should do, and then prove it. In his 1842 review of Hawthorne's Twice-Told Tales, he lays down the law. The skillful literary artist starts with a single effect and makes every word march toward it. Only a piece you can read in one sitting lets the author control the mood start to finish. Poe says, during the hour of perusal, the soul of the reader is at the writer's control. That's the blueprint. Look at his own work. The suffocating doom of the fall of the House of Usher. The cold, brick-by-brick hatred of the cask of Amontillado. No side quests. No slack. Just one atmosphere. Tightening like a noose. He used the same rigor to launch detective fiction with The Murders in the Rue Morgue and to play with early science fiction. But the Gothic is where the unity of effect hits like a cathedral bell. But Poe didn't conjure this out of a vacuum. He's part of a conversation already booming across Europe and America. Before him, E.T.A. Hoffmann is busy in Germany turning nightmares into chamber pieces. Night Pieces, 1816, gives us The Sandman, where childhood terror stares back with mechanical eyes. Contemporary readers even notice that Hoffmann's haunted estates, like Das Majorat, echo in Poe's crumbling mansions. You can feel the lineage. Across the Atlantic, Washington Irving is feeding American readers short supernatural fare in the sketchbook. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, 1820, a comic ghost story that still lives in our heads. Rip Van Winkle plays the uncanny in a different key, but it's still a short, strange dose. Then the vampiric aristocrat arrives early in John Polidori's The Vampire, 1819. Hawthorne loads the 1830s with dozens of brief, moral-dimmed tales. Gogol drops V, 1835, in Russia. Even Dickens, the king of the big novel, writes The Signal Man, 1866, a perfect spine prickle. And Sheridan Le Fanu builds a whole haunted house out of shorts and novellas. So why does Gothic horror thrive in a short story? 3 reasons. First, atmosphere. Horror needs an unbroken mood. A short story doesn't give you the chance to wander off. It seals the room. Poe calls it unity of impression. Keep the reader in 1 hour and you can trap their nerves steady and complete. Second, intensity. Brevity cuts out fat. Suspense and surprise sharpen when every sentence is a step toward the drop. M.R. James nailed the problem with long-winded scares when he said Dracula has very good ideas, but the butter is spread far too thick. A short ghost story ends while your rational mind is still scrambling to catch up. The chill lingers because the author didn't over-explain it to death. Third, focus. One incident, one revelation, one apparition. A good Gothic short story is a straight corridor, not a maze of subplots. Well, Poe again, invent only the incidents that serve the pre-established design. The supernatural convinces when it is glimpsed, not catalogued. Lovecraft later praises the atmosphere of breathless and unexplainable dread, and that requires unity, not sprawl. There's also the old habit of speaking ghosts aloud. People told these stories by firelight in a single sitting. The printed tale inherits that cadence. A hush, a build, a payoff, a silence. Now, who perfects the ghost story built on that logic? M.R. James. A Cambridge scholar with a taste for medieval dust and malevolent things, he writes his tales to be read aloud on Christmas Eve, and then publishes them in collections like Ghost Stories of an Antiquary, 1904. He keeps his rules simple. Ground the setting in the real world. Make the supernatural a genuine threat. Never smother the mystery with a cult lecture. Let the weirdness seep, then strike. Read O Whistle, and I'll come to you, my lad. A professor finds a whistle in a ruin by the sea. He blows it. Something answers. Tiny disturbances spread. A second pillow looks oddly occupied. A sheet seems to rise on its own. James rations the terror and then delivers one clean, unforgettable image. 20 pages and it stays with you for years. That's Poe's unity, tuned for the ghost story. By the late 19th century, the pattern is set. Short Gothic tales dominate the form because they play to its strengths, mood held without leakage, compression that stings, and plots built like fuse wire. Poe the architect sketches the structure. Hoffmann and Irving show the rooms are already haunted. James moves in and flicks the lights off. So here's the through line I want you to keep. The modern short story takes shape when writers commit to one effect in one sitting, and the Gothic becomes its most natural tenet. From Poe's theory to James's practice, the form proves ruthless and elegant. Less length, more consequence. Your turn. Which short Gothic hits you hardest? Hoffmann's The Sandman, Poe's Usher, Le Fanu's Green Tea, or M.R. James's Oh Whistle? And why? Drop your pick and your best shiver in the comments. If you enjoyed this dive, subscribe and stay with the stack. Until next time, keep your candles lit and your prefaces loaded.